Think about how a global crisis is usually reported to you.
Oh, it's usually just the absolute worst case scenario.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost like looking at a medical x-ray.
Sure.
It's jagged, it's binary, it's just black and white.
Yeah, you just see the bright white fracture on the scan.
And the news anchor just points to it and says, there's the break. That's the whole story.
It's a fractured bone or an intact bone. There is absolutely no in-between, no nuance about the surrounding tissue at all.
And we just accept that. We take that x-ray as the complete picture of a place. But what actually happens when you turn off the evening news, toss out that high contrast x-ray, and, just go for a walk.
A literal walk.
Yeah, a walk in hyper-clear 4K resolution down the street of a place we only ever really hear about in the context of disaster.
Which brings us to today's source material.
Exactly. Today, we are digging into a fascinating piece of media from 2026. It's called Resilient Rhythms, a 4K journey through Cap-Haïtien. And our mission for this deep dive is to understand how a single, completely unedited, unscripted walking tour can essentially dismantle decades of global stereotypes about Haiti.
It's a really powerful piece of media.
It is. And for you listening, the goal here is to completely rethink how you visualize places you've only ever read about in, bold, flashy headlines. Step away from the doom scrolling for a bit.
Which is, frankly, a heavy lift for a video that is, on a technical level, just a camera moving down a street.
Right, it's so simple.
But that simplicity is exactly why it functions as such a profound commentary on our media diet. It forces us to examine the psychological shortcuts we take when we consume information.
Yeah, the thing that strikes me immediately in the source material is the sheer contrast in the narrative.
Oh, it's night and day.
It really is. You hear Haiti in the mainstream news, and it's 100% crisis, 100% of the time. Then you put on this 4K walking tour, and it's shockingly vibrant.
Colorful markets, people laughing.
Everyday commerce.
Okay.
Let's unpack this, because I have a healthy dose of skepticism here.
I figured you might.
Well, yeah. If the global headlines for years have been entirely focused on systemic hardship, isn't this walking tour just wearing rose-colored glasses?
That's a valid question.
Isn't planting a camera only at smiling fruit vendors just as manipulative as pointing it only at a riot?
See, that is the exact trap our brains fall into. We assume that shifting the focus away from disaster equates to denying that the disaster exists.
Right.
But what's fascinating here is that the tour doesn't ignore the challenges. The source text explicitly mentions that Cap-Haïtien is a place where profound beauty and resilience exist right alongside severe challenges.
So it's not pretending everything is perfect.
Not at all. It's not creating a fictional utopia. Instead, it's doing something crucial for our cognitive processing. It is correcting the proportions of the narrative.
Correcting the proportions. Okay, spell that out for me. How does a camera walking down a street change the proportions of a whole country's narrative?
Well, think about the cognitive load of a standard news cycle. When a macro-level event happens...
Like political instability or something.
Exactly, or natural disasters.
Right.
It consumes 100% of the reporting bandwidth. The media ecosystem is structurally built to highlight the anomaly, right?
Yeah, totally.
So we have the psychological heuristic where if we only see a place in a state of emergency, our brains just categorize that entire geographic region under the tag emergency.
Right, because a headline that says man goes to work on Tuesday and buys bread doesn't keep anyone glued to the screen.
Exactly. But the problem is, on the ground, at the street level, daily human life doesn't hit pause because there's a breaking news banner on television.
People still have to live.
Yeah. A mother still has to walk her child to school. People still need to buy groceries. The crisis is very real, but it does not represent 100% of the pie chart of daily life for the average citizen.
Man, which completely flips the script on how we process geography.
It really does.
We are so conditioned to think that if a place is labeled a crisis zone, the people there must just, sit around in a constant 24/47 state of despair waiting for things to resolve.
And that assumption strips them of their agency in our minds. When you live somewhere, your reality isn't defined by the macro politics. It's defined by your daily routines.
Your local market, your neighbors?
Exactly. The walking tour simply puts the everyday routine back into the frame. It forces the viewer to reconcile the dramatic headline with the mundane reality of a community that is still functioning.
It makes me think about how much of our worldview is shaped by what's left out of the frame.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the news zooms all the way in on the tragedy,
Right.
Cropping out the rest of the street. But this video just pulls the camera back to a wide shot and leaves it there.
And leaving it there without a script is a vital mechanism for how this works on the viewer.
Because it's unedited, right?
Yeah. The source heavily emphasizes that this footage is unfiltered and unscripted reality. That lack of scripting changes the way we cognitively digest the information.
Because there's no voiceover telling you how sad you should feel or, how inspired you should be. Yeah. You're just there.
You're just a pedestrian.
Yeah. It almost feels like the slow food movement, but for YouTube or media.
Oh, I like that. That's a great way to look at it. No artificial additives, no rapid-fire jump cuts designed to hack your dopamine receptors.
Just letting the environment digest at walking speed. Because when you watch it, you're forced to experience the literal hustle of everyday commerce at the pace of a real person.
You hear a fruit seller calling out prices.
Yeah, but it's mixed with the Doppler effect of motorbikes weaving through the narrow streets and kids laughing somewhere down the block.
Your brain has to sort through the audio landscape itself.
Exactly.
And consider why that sensory immersion matters on a psychological level. We are so used to curated tourist attractions.
Oh, those highly polished drone shot videos.
Right, meant to sell a vacation package. This tour deliberately avoids those. It takes you through residential neighborhoods and busy market streets where normal people actually spend their time.
I noticed that detail in the source. The camera catches these totally mundane moments, like a tailor just sitting outside his shop working on garments in the sun.
That specific detail, the tailor working outside, is incredibly telling. It speaks to the local climate, the use of natural light, and the seamless integration of business and community space.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah, and more importantly, it validates the microeconomies that keep the city alive. Watching someone ply their trade on a sunny street corner builds an emotional bridge based on shared humanity.
Okay, but I push back on the idea that we can't get that from traditional media, though. I mean, can a good documentary show a tailor working?
Well, a documentary frames the tailor as a subject of study. The unedited walking tour frames the tailor as a neighbor you happen to be walking past.
Ah, okay. I see this.
It's a difference between observing someone through a microscope and standing next to them at a crosswalk. The friendliness of the people, a smile, a casual wave at the camera.
They aren't acting.
Exactly. These aren't performances elicited by a director. They are spontaneous reactions to a physical presence in their shared space.
And the fact that it's captured in 4K resolution isn't just about showing off fancy tech specs either. It's about sensory fidelity, right?
Absolutely.
Like a static, grainy photo from a wire service creates distance. You look at it like a historical artifact.
It feels removed.
Yeah, but in 4K, you see the exact vibrant shade of the spices piled in the market. You see the intricate texture of the fabric the tailor is holding. It tricks the brain into closing the psychological distance between us and them.
It creates a form of spatial awareness. Your brain processes those high-definition micro-expressions and environmental textures in a way that closely mimics actual physical presence.
You feel like you occupy the same physical space as the people on the screen.
Precisely.
But it's not just the people that caught my attention. I noticed something really striking about that physical space they're occupying.
The architecture.
Yes. The camera catches these totally mundane, modern moments. Neighbors waving, people buying fruit. But they are standing in front of these massive, centuries-old colonial buildings.
It's quite a juxtaposition.
It gives this weird weight to a simple hello. Did you get that sense?
It completely alters the context of the interaction. Cap-Haïtien is situated along the northern coast, and it is saturated in a rich blend of colonial architecture and imposing structures that hint at Haiti's revolutionary past.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because Haiti isn't just another country with some old buildings that tourists take pictures of.
No, absolutely not. Haiti has a profoundly world-changing history. It is the site of the most successful slave rebellion in human history, which directly led to the founding of a free republic.
The people who built that nation fundamentally challenged the global order of the time.
So when we see a fruit vendor casually setting up shop against one of these massive stone buildings, we aren't just looking at a pretty architectural backdrop.
We're looking at a literal monument to revolution.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, those colonial and revolutionary buildings are silent witnesses to immense historical trauma, struggle, and ultimate triumph.
Wow.
So when you see neighbors warmly greeting each other in the shadow of that specific architecture, you are looking at a living visual metaphor for the city's